So, Star Citizen. One really big thing happened. So to the uninitiated, Star Citizen right now is in 3.17.4. Maybe by the time that this goes out, it'll be 3.18. Like, we're not that close. But we're kind of that close. Sorry. But yeah. So, where we're at right now is we're getting like a good amount of core tech, or we're getting a major push with core tech for 3.18. Persistence, proper persistence is going to be tier 0'd or tier 1'd, whichever you want to think of it as. We'll see. That, like, proper persistence, like you log off and the server keeps, an item you dropped, it keeps it on that server. Now, it's on the server, and there's no guarantee that you'll log in to the same server, so, that is an issue. And there are some issues, like you won't be able to bed log until they, fix that. But yeah, we're getting a lot of core tech. There are a lot of features on the horizon, and a lot of balance passes. People realize that we need Squadron. Okay, so Star Citizen, mass MMO, sandbox space MMO, giant project. A giant project that's going to take a while. Still, like, if I would not be surprised if we were still in alpha in 4 years. Would not be surprised if that was the case. Squadron 42, single player game, based around the same engine, based around the same tech, but just not as much because it's just single player and combat focused. And of course, combat is like the first thing that they've done and the thing that they're balancing. We don't have any timetable on when Squadron 42 is actually going to come out, but it kind of needs to come out soon-ish. Or monetarily, this just isn't going to make sense. But yeah, so I completely forgot what point I was trying to make. Sorry. But point being, yeah, we need to, they're doing balance passes. They're doing balance passes on combat stuff. I'm sorry, it took me a very long time to get to the really big thing, because the really big thing is, like, okay, a small thing, but a really big thing. Ballistics are going to almost completely ignore shields. I don't have the numbers, and they haven't settled on the numbers, but they're basically saying that, yes, ballistics... Okay, so the problem with ballistics... they were pretty much on par with energy weapons. They would penetrate a little bit of shields. Like, it was like shields would have 90 or 95% damage reduction, except for the Devarin shields that had 100. But I think they also changed that at some point, but I digress. Probably with the shield changes. But probably with the shield changes when they sort of made everything do the same thing, but I digress. Now, and I don't know, I heard a number, but I don't think I heard it from CIG. Like, instead of 90% damage reduction, it's going to be 10% damage reduction, or maybe even less. Which is like, No. Oh, well, I guess we got to see the animation. Sorry. But yeah, so, okay, sorry. So, history of that. Ballistics, I would say they were pretty on par with energy weapons. The only thing is they had limited ammo, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't that bad of a change. It wasn't, it was like, you know, you would, if you wanted to be competitive, if you wanted to have an edge, you would use ballistic weapons. But, you know, somebody who was skilled with energy weapons could definitely still, you know, win. And situationally, they are, you know, going to be beneficial in sometimes. But then they changed. But then when they tried to like do a rebalance of all the weapons, ballistic weapons got a lot of damage, but had their ammo counts cut drastically. Like they would do twice as much damage, but have a 10th as much ammo, or something along those lines. Not everything was the same, or not every size was the same anyway. So what would happen? So now, instead of just changing the ammo capacities and maybe giving it a little bit of a damage buff, they're just making the they're just increasing the damage. They're just basically making shields useless. Unless you're using energy weapons, which, you know, if you're using energy weapons, fuck you. You know, somebody with ballistic weapons is just going to shred you to pieces in like a second. And a lot of people have cited that, like, or have said, why the hell would this be in place if there's not an actual armor system in game? Which, you know, I think is a very valid point. This system is going to get into PTU. I've heard the thought it's going to get into PTU. People are going to complain about it, and they're going to take it out, and it's probably not going to be heard from again. Or it's going to be there, and we're just going to have to fucking deal with it. I don't know. I mean, people have theories about how exactly it'll work. I think it is a stupid idea. It's a really stupid idea. Just like increase the ammo. Yes, it should do more damage. Shields, not every shield should do like 90% damage reduction. There should be levels to it. You know, there should be some that are maybe, you know, maybe there are some that have 60% ballistic resistance. But maybe they have stronger environmental resistance. So it's like, well, if you take a light fighter out with a military shield that has high ballistic resistance, maybe it's not going to last that long in the harsh conditions of space. You know, that could be, you know, and like it's not going to survive a solar flare or some cosmic radiation is going to have some bad effects on it, more so than maybe a civilian shield or industrial shield or something. You know, something like that. That would be a more interesting balance in my mind, but I don't know. Sometimes their balance changes are questionable. And maybe they make sense, but maybe they make sense when they explain it, or they make some kind of sense anyway, but they haven't really, they literally just dropped that and didn't explain it. Maybe they have, and I just haven't heard. Maybe they've elaborated on it, but I think it's just ridiculous. People, yeah, no. I mean, there'll be people who like it because they want ballistics to be good, but there's ways to make ballistics that are good without this. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. Ugh.